Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the Outclaws Podcast. Progressing through the second arc of the Wings of Fire series has been a blast, as we continue to traverse through the story through the perspective of a different dragon in each book, exploring their struggles, thoughts, and development. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the committee of this podcast who have made the continuation of this show possible. And now, I will hand you over to your host, Atticus Brendan.
Hello everyone, welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of the Outclaws Podcast. We are a podcast dedicated to a variety of fantasy and sci-fi fictions, featuring a few guest speakers for an intriguing discussion. This episode will be focused on Escaping Peril, the 8th book of the Wings of Fire series, where we now see through Peril's perspective, where she went through the journey of self-discovery and relationships development, while embarking on a perilous journey along with an unexpected new friend. A heads up before we begin. This episode does contain spoilers of the Wings of Fire series up until the book Escaping Peril. I am the show host Atticus, and here are the guests for today.
Hello everyone, my name is Afosiosi The Animator. I'm your average Wings of Fire artist, animator, Wings of Fire memer, and YouTube content creator. This is my first time on the podcast. I hope you guys are as stoked as I am for this podcast episode.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you. And thank you very much for joining us today on the Outclaws Podcast.
Hello, I'm Oasis, part of the Outclaws Podcast. This is my intro. Good things. My favorite book of the Wings of Fire universe is Talons of Power, Book 9, which so happens to be the next video of this series. Next thing, I also really enjoy doing mechanic work, working on vehicles and all of that. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of people who are just very interested in Wings of Fire who are joining us today. So it's good to have you here as well. And we had really fun conversations in the past, which is great.
Hello, my name's Poem. I'm an artist and animator, and I've been into Wings of Fire for a long time. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much. And yes, you're also a really talented artist, that I can say. And I mean, I really appreciate your art and all the involvement you've actually given to the server overall. Like the profile picture of the server and the banners, they all look amazing. So I really, really appreciate the support here. And thank you very much for joining us on today's podcast episode.
Hello, I am Provincial. I'm known as Provin or Dragonfruit. I'm Dragonfruits, basically known for just Wings of Fire artists. I just draw Dragonfruits and dragon. Well, Wings of Fire too, of course. Thank you for inviting me back. I've been, last time I've been here was like Season 1, Episode 2, if I remember. And yeah, it was pretty fun. I can't wait what to discuss today. Also, excuse my stuttering, it's been a long time. But still, it's very fun to meet y'all again.
Welcome back. The last time we've done an episode with you was 4 years ago. Almost 4 years ago. That was back in 2022. Very long time ago, I gotta say. But it's really good to have returning guests and also new guests coming along. So that's really great. And I've been looking forward to this episode for a very long time. So this is definitely going to be a blast, in my opinion. Right. So just an introduction, really. How have you guys actually been have gotten involved in the in Wings of Fire in general?
My entire life. A lot. It's like, years.
Since COVID.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, feel free to actually expand on what you want to say and feel free to do it in a more structured manner.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Well, I have been in the Wings of Fire universe since I think 2022 when my friend had introduced to it, and ever since I've just been addicted to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really addicting series if you really like fantasy novels and dragons in general, because like having a society ran by dragons is something you don't really see every day in almost all fiction series. Most of them are like ran by humans, and usually you have human protagonists, but here it's completely dragons, which is something very special in my opinion.
I came across like the books in the library, and then since then I've like really been into it, especially with the graphic novels.
Yeah, the graphic novels are really nice. I like how vibrant they are. I'm not too sure whether they are my favorite art style, but I definitely really like how everything's portrayed. The emotions and the backgrounds are really nice too, I think. So yeah, definitely, I agree with that. Absolutely amazing stuff.
I started before the third arc even was announced. I was early middle school. I remember my dad taking me to the library one day, and he would just ask the librarian for just books that just middle schooler, high schoolers were interested in. And then the first book, the Dragonet Prophecy, was in that basket. I remember being not too happy about it. It was like, because I was actually judging a book by its cover, and like about 2 weeks later, it was still there in the house, just sitting on the thing. Like I was punished, all my devices were turned off, and I just figured, why not? And I think I was cripplingly obsessed, and still am now.
And yeah, that is really nice. That's a good insight, because that is totally understandable. I would be very invested in I'm like really immersed in it once I've started reading it. I actually did not even start reading the first book. I actually read in the middle of the arc one, like the fourth book, so the Dark Secret, and I've just been really hooked on ever since. As I've mentioned in the previous episode. So I really like this series in general, and I know how addicting it is. And you've been immersed in the Dragon Society ever since, so that's really good, I think.
Yes, I remember the exact day when I got into Wings of Fire, but it was a long while. Like around 8 or 9 years ago, when I was like in 5th grade, there was this like book fair, and there was this lovely artwork I saw. Unfortunately, I'm one of those people that got in Wings of Fire, but like in the wrong order. I was reading it. I think it was called Moon Rising, right? It's been a while reading Arc 2, and I'm already starting to forget the names. But I remember all the characters and all that. So, yeah, I got the book in 5th grade, but I actually did not read it at that exact time. It was like some months later when when I just got into middle school. That's when I started reading, and then I noticed how graphic it could kind of be. Kind of. But yeah, it was kind of an understatement seeing like the graphic of it. But I'm like, oh, this is a children's book. I'm a kid too. I was a kid, but at that time, yeah, I was like back all the way up. And then I started the artwork stuff. It started, I think, around when I was like in middle school. Yeah, but I actually did start a lot more in 2021, which is like, what was it again? 5 years?
Yeah.
That's a lot. And yeah, it's kind of simple, really. But yeah, I got into it basically. I kind of drifted apart just a little while, but then after when I started drawing, that's when I read much more, like the book in order. And I love the series so much. It's pretty cool. Such an awesome community. Really cool.
Yes, I definitely agree. And the books themselves are definitely, all of them have like really good plots. I mean, there might be some that are better than the others, but overall it's not like disastrously bad in the later series. And I understand why it drifts off, because new books have not been released for a while. But again, like drawing or essentially doing anything that's oriented towards the series would absolutely bring you back. So I totally understand why. And yeah, I mean, I'm really a huge fan of your drawings as well. Your illustrations are amazing. So I've been following I've essentially been following your page since 2020. So that was amazing. So keep up the great work as well. And yeah, So, as you may know, today we are talking about Escaping Peril. That's the 8th book of the series. I do wonder, like, what do you guys think of this book in like as an overall, as an overview, and how do you really how do you get into it? Like, are there any background to how we've gotten into this book, or do you just carry on from the previous books?
It was really carrying on from the previous books. Like, I remember it was when reading Moon's book that I just wished the whole art could be from Moon's perspective, but then that would just be breaking the formula. I was like really disappointed to pick this one up and discover it was from Peril, but it did. I didn't have the same feelings after reading it.
Yeah, I definitely understand. Yeah, because this is an insanely huge turning point as well, and carrying from other books, that's usually what happens, because after one book you just want to go towards the other to know what happens, because it picks up exactly from where the previous one left off. So I totally understand that.
Yeah, that book was actually pretty cool. Like, my standards for the book, like, good books are really, really low. And I loved it. I love that each character, we get its own development. Peril, for example. I have a bad habit mispronouncing her name. Pearl, whatever. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was very graphic too, a bit more. But to be fair, I mean, it's not a Wings of Fire book, and it doesn't have graphic for each one of books. But yes, it's really, really cool. The parts that I know is like super, like, they're probably the most iconic, I guess. But I don't want to get into it right away unless you don't mind. I don't know how, if we're going in order or something, but it was a nice book. I like it.
We'll be going in the rough order of the book. Yes, we'll be going that. So yes, we'll definitely be going through that, and feel free to share your thoughts when we go later down the book. And yes, followed Afosiosi, do you want to share how you got into this book?
Yes. So I kind of got into the book later on. I read some of the not previous, books after it. So I got to it kind of late, but I kind of wish I got into it sooner because the plot was like really good.
Yes, it definitely is a really good book. I think it's one of the more streamlined books that I've really came across. Like, because this book, in my opinion, really has a lot of character development, and things have turned out to be very different from the comparing the beginning and the end. So things have definitely changed a lot, and I do think this would resonate with a lot of people as well, because this book in general, in my opinion, is about conformity. And when you are asked to do orders all your life, you don't really know how to really be yourself, because you have always been assigned to essentially please everyone else. So my overall thoughts about this book is like essentially how people are have gotten lost in the system, but they are unable to really be themselves and explore what they actually want to be themselves, and how to establish good relationships, because they've been made into a tool essentially in a lot of different places. I mean, in the Western in the Western societies, they're probably better, but in Eastern societies, I understand that people have been like working a lot, and they don't really get to devote time into developing themselves. So I really, really think this is a really good book, and reflecting on all that, it is good to know how everyone have gotten into this. And yeah, the general consensus I totally agree with is that this book has a lot of emotional depth that we'll be going into. So yes, and FOCC, do you want to share a point?
Yes, I would definitely say the book kind of like relates to me, at least, because it shows you kind of like I don't know, like if you've been like in a household or some of that, and it's just like man. You've been like kind of forced to do one thing, and then you kind of like are out of the house, and then you're kind of like, okay, so now I have all this freedom, what am I gonna do with it? And that's kind of how Peril is, with like she's figuring out where she's supposed to be in her own actual character, and who she is to other people or dragons.
Yeah, definitely, because yeah, being trained into like a monster for all your life is really difficult to adjust into being like a true character, or like a true dragon, because like essentially everyone is like scared of you, and you really don't know how to really approach anyone when you have never really been in a normal life before. And yeah, that's actually very sad in my opinion, and it's very difficult. I can imagine this to be very difficult to transition into if I were in that situation as well. So yes. Anyway, so we're going to now go into the contents of the book, starting in a relatively ordered manner. So essentially, we'll talk about the prologue to begin with. So the prologue is a bit there's a huge time jump back to the past about how Ruby remembers that Tourmaline had been planning to challenge Scarlett and pull the Skyring back from the war. But Tourmaline vanished before she could act. Ruby summoned Scott's court, where Scott displays Brad's night eggs and introduces an unnerving young Peril as a future weapon. And that's where Scarlett has Peril touch one egg after another, and that instantly burns the dragon into ashes before they even hatch. Ruby leaves convinced that Peril is terrifying, and then Scarlett is too powerful to challenge openly. And that kind of shows us a lot about the characters there. So first off, Ruby thinks a lot about things, but she always thinks she is inferior to Scarlett, and Scarlett is a much more powerful being that she cannot challenge herself. But that also introduces how Peril has been perceived as a monster to begin with, because one touch of something and they burn into ashes. She's literally the power of fire, essentially, and there's nothing really that you can stop. And with her being in Scarlett's hands, she becomes a very dangerous weapon for years to come, which is essentially very difficult to overcome, and that becomes great. That develops great fear within the dragon community. I can definitely see how that becomes very scary. And yeah, what are your thoughts on this, on the prologue, on how I introduced it?
I was gonna say, I think it's the start of like a habit for her. I think it's like the start of like a habit where Scarlett is developing like this like routine that Peril starts to follow over and over again, and then essentially it becomes like a lifestyle.
Yes, it does become a lifestyle, because when you're slowly influenced into adjusting to some things, there is the instinct of actually having to adjust to it, because that's just survival really, because if you don't adjust, then you would never be able to settle in the condition, especially if you have been conditioned to be in that situation, or in that sort of that's like how your day-to-day life is, then you would get accustomed to it since young, and it's very much easier to influence a young member compared to a fully grown individual, that's for sure. Essentially that's how things are. It's like the born of a monster. Nobody dares to challenge them. It's like a very dramatic opening as well, because you don't I mean, even though the book kind of already tells you that's the name, I mean, it's like an entry of a monster being born, rather than actually just a dragon with some abnormal powers being introduced, and then that has been really made into a tool or weapon, instead of actually having the essentially having the life of any other dragons. And that really tells you how sinister the entire plan is behind it, and it's actually very malicious on what they really intend to do. So yeah, the prologue really gives a very unsettling scene, but it really makes you wonder what's going to happen next when you actually have this background to begin with. So now moving on to chapter 1, at Jade Mountain Academy, Queen Ruby arrives performing Skyring death rites for Carnelian. Essentially, the death of Carnelian back in episode 6 really has escalated the exile of Peril in this case, and Peril has been accused of essentially killing Carnelian, because Peril left some scorch marks on Carnelian, but none of them really knows that Peril was actually trying to save Carnelian from the blast. So that was really tragic in my opinion, because she was trying to do a better deed, and she's actually started changing, but nobody can really see it. I do wonder what you guys think about that.
You're really spooky.
Indeed.
Super spooky. Yeah. Spooky, that's it. Spooky.
It is extremely spooky. But it's kind of sad, to be honest with you, about how she tried to do something good, but seeing how everyone knew her as this massive secret weapon and everything, that everyone would believe that.
Indeed, yeah, because like with something that has been conditioned, with a dragon that has been conditioned into literally being a weapon with such huge power that one touch literally burns your life, like you will not be able to get your head around how this kind of monster has feelings and emotions to begin with, because of how many dragons she's killed in the past. So naturally, everyone's wary of them, but even it kind of really discourages any changes because of how she has been conditioned, and that can actually drive somebody very demotivated and depressed because they're actively trying to change when nobody can really see it.
Yeah, about Pearl, basically this is the reason why you should give a reason why you shouldn't hate her, because she's kind of born that way. Scarlett did something unbelievable that we hate her a lot more, even though some people still find her adjustable, but still somehow still like her. But Peril, whatever. But yeah, she was prone to be that way. I know it's kind of a setback to look from before chapter 1, but yeah, it's basically pretty sad. Can you imagine eating rocks your entire life until you get noticed by Clay himself? Yeah, it's kind of pretty unfortunate too. But yeah, the rest of that, chapter 1, it's kind of hard for me to remember specifically, but it was pretty scary and how it was going. And yeah, it was really, really unpredictable and what he's gonna do next. And you don't know, chameleon or whatever.
No, chameleon, yeah.
But yeah, it was it was pretty rough. I really feel bad for her. Can you imagine just being a monster that eat rocks for your entire life, your entire diet is a life,
and then suddenly changing all of a sudden as well? Because when that happens, it's very hard to try to get adjusted to a normal life when you have not been given one since the beginning, and it's probably going to induce even more stress because it's something that's completely different to what you've been aware of.
I want to top off something with Peril eating rocks. I would assume not just Peril as well, but all the quote dragons that Scarlett used as toys for her arena, they're most likely very malnourished and underfed, especially Peril too, despite she was treated a little bit better somewhat than the other prisoners, but that can I almost wonder how malnourished and skinny she was from eating just rocks and stuff.
Definitely, I can definitely see where you're coming from, and she's still very powerful despite being malnourished, so you can really see how resilient she really is, even if not psychologically, because she's really essentially made into a weapon, but you can see how physically she's very resilient to all of that. But the prisoners were not really treated well, so that also tells you how the Skywing Kingdom really works, and it's very totalitarian, isn't it? You don't really get a lot on what to do, and it's very barbaric as well, because they always have these tournaments to actually get different dragons murdered. That's just absolutely horrible as a scene, don't you think? Yes, indeed. Yeah, so it's insanely difficult.
I just really appreciate Tui's attention to the psychological aspect that Peril thinks she is a weapon and still thinks she is a weapon. She goes on to believe that the only way she can make things better is to kill people. That's all she's ever known, all she's ever done. She did that every morning. Breakfast, kill someone, go to bed. Yeah, that's all she did. So I really appreciate the fact that she doesn't know if the fact that she's just mentioning murder makes people around her uncomfortable. She doesn't think that's something that isn't normal.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, about Peril, with the malnourishment. Now that you mention it, yeah, she's basically just a little a weapon. She's not even seen as an actual dragon. That's the sad part about her is her entire life is just a machine. That's her entire purpose, or some sort of war war crime or something.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, until like later on in the chapter, but like, like before the chapter one or anything like that. Yeah, it was just unfortunate. I just feel so bad for her. Like, how can you hate her after she's treated and raised up this way by who she is? Like that's that part is just so sad and tragic and spooky
Yes,
too. So
indeed.
Yeah.
it's like unheard of how these tragic. Yeah, like a walk.
It's very unsettling.
Yeah. It's like in the I remember like even in the graphic novel it's like so graphic on how like I forgot which was the first dragon that went on stage like that we saw. I think it was the Sandwing, right?
Mhm.
It was the guy
I don't remember the name either.
yeah, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
I think it's but yeah, it's just imagine a Sandwing. I think it had two legs, right? Or one leg. I think it's two legs. I don't what? Whatever. Yeah, he was like, imagine this like Sandwing just running by, like just chasing, like just running away from you, and you just touch him, and you just get inflamed, and then that's like horrible, and like you can't tell how desensitized Peril is. Like she like pure desensitized, just touching dragons, and I don't even know if she's like tired of it too. Like Scarlett is using her as a weapon and all that. It's pretty unfortunate.
Indeed, and I don't think she really can't see like how this is not okay and how this is like essentially just taking a life, because taking a life is a huge deal even in Wings of Fire, and even more so in our society. But I mean, like one tap and then she just takes it away, and she has been conditioned to like adapted to really being do this as like for her pleasure and the Queen's pleasure. So it's very unsettling to say the least.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, indeed. And also like the thing regarding to like the start of this book, you can actually see how much thought is going through her, because the major thing is because she has developed like a relationship, a proper one, since meeting Clay in episode and in like book one, and that is like a very huge changing point. It absolutely destabilizes her because she's never really had a relationship besides with the distorted relationship she has with Queen Scarlett, because Queen Scarlett literally orders and says everything and can't give her like praises, and that kind of sustains her, because that's what she anticipates every time when she kills something. And now she actually has a genuine bond that she's never felt before. It absolutely tears her apart, you can definitely see. And then she's actually trying to be better as well.
Yeah, I remember when she kept. I remember like how she in her mind is mentioning Clay so many times. It's kind of cute. It's like cute, like how she mentions, like she just like thought thinks about Clay all the time, and like the dragon that's actually like fireproof, and the only dragon she actually doesn't accidentally burn or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's just so cute.
Definitely.
Yeah, every time she does things, she always thinks like, what would Clay do, or what will Clay think of this, and all of this, because she has the bond with him, and only with him, to be honest with you. That's also another reason why she always likes to try to be as close as she can to him at all times, at least what I've seen.
I would say, like, now that, like, Peril has, like, lost her, like, sense of, like, security, because, like, she was using Scarlett as, like, her, like, quote, her mother or her sense of security and all that. Now that she lost that, she's using Clay now as like a security blanket, and she goes to him for like should I do this or should I do that? And Clay's like, I'm not in control of that. That's for you to decide. He's trying to push her to have independence, and she wants that security blanket because she's had that her whole life, and she's thought like this is what's necessary to live.
Indeed, yes. Yeah, because essentially without it, she doesn't really know what her purpose is anymore. And that absolutely destabilizes her emotions, and essentially she wouldn't know how to actually get along with other people. And when she's being accused, especially of Cornelian's death, I mean, that would definitely be take a toll on her emotions. And she probably would think it's very unfair, because like the only time that she didn't really try to kill something, everyone's accusing her of killing a dragon. Well, whereas back in, because of what she did in past, and she's actively trying to change. So it really makes you wonder how like she'll be accepted. And essentially, like the major point also to say here is how distorted everything really is. The dynamic between Queen Scarlett. I mean, Queen Scarlett is an absolute is like one of the epitome of bad characters, of villains. And essentially you can see, because even when Peril rescued her after the attack in book 1, you can see how she wanted to continue to have control over Peril, when Peril really tried to refuse it and try to change, and then eventually said, okay, you're expendable, I can replace you, you're no longer useful to me. You know how much that can hurt somebody. I just cannot imagine that, the amount of trauma that would induce in somebody.
Oh yeah, that amount of trauma is something very, very I don't know, it's unexplainable, it's unjustified. Like I said earlier, Scarlett is just a monster. She's a monster. Peril's not. She's one of the victims. I feel bad. Yeah, but yeah, it's just so much to say that I like Scarlett as a villain. She's one of the most awesome villains I've seen in Wings of Fire. But it's so unjustifiably evil, and no, from book 1, it was so I don't know. So it just makes you want to put her in jail or something. Even just make her rot in jail. As if it's kind of already happened, but still, it kind of needs more bad environment for her. But yeah, for Peril, I think that's her name pronounced Peril, right? Yeah, Peril.
I mean, we feel bad for her, but people actually think Peril is even scarier, more intimidating than Scarlett, which is absolutely insane, because given, I mean, her is actually a victim, essentially being get influence into all of this, whereas Queen Scarlett's really the one who's being calculative and actually doing all these things to keep everyone under her, essentially, and then treat everyone as the most superior dragon there is, and being feared by everyone, essentially all egocentric and all powerful. And that makes you actually think how successful her manipulation is on all dragons, because now she actually put all the fear and let all the other dragons she can manipulate to do all the dirty work, where she actually did not really have to lay her hands on any of them, and essentially Peril would do everything. And that everyone would fear Peril, instead of actually thinking, oh, Queen Scarlett is the absolute monster there, but Peril instead. So yeah, that's essentially how things kept going. But then afterwards, Peril does kind of show that she is trying to redeem herself. The redemption arc is when she met Turtle in Jade Mountain Academy. That's when things start to be different, because Turtle did not really react the same way as most others by running away or essentially avoiding her completely, just standing there and just essentially engaging conversation, saying I mean, he's scared, but then he just don't react the same way as others. So I mean, what do you guys think on that? What's your take?
We love
them dragons are brave.
We love Turtle. We love him so much. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I don't think he's afraid of her, because he's got his enchanted rock. So and he's proven it later on in the chapter with Winter. But I would say I don't think he's afraid of her, because he knows if she accidentally burns him, he can use his enchanted rock and stuff.
The thing about this that is a little different is because we don't know any of this until in the middle of the book, when he actually started using his animal's powers. True. Yeah. So at that point, even Peril does not know. So Peril thought it's very odd to why he's not running away screaming like the other dragons, and instead just stood there and just acted a bit indifferent to her presence. So that is a bit of a shocker to her. But then that actually is where she again started to socialize with other dragons, which she's not really done in the past. And that kind of started to change her and give her confidence to actually start speaking out a bit more, even though they started quite rough.
Yeah, it is rough, but at the start, it's something that she could communicate with all dragons instead of running away. But yeah, those dragons are brave. Pearl, everyone brave, but they trust Pearl, even if they haven't known her enough. That's something beautiful right there. The dragons, not scared. Well, they're kind of maybe scared, but they don't like run off. It's just a pair of the different kind of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So, going against how she has never talked to one really before, how she, every time she talks to another dragon, she keeps bringing up murder and stuff and having to like backtrack on it.
I brought that up too.
And,
Oh no.
and she's like, "Oh, I'm not trying to murder you or nothing." And she's like, "Oh, that's not really a good thing to talk about." And it also goes into show because also when she was talking with Turtle. The first time she met Turtle was when they were in the main area of Jade Mountain, where she almost stepped on him because he was sitting in the main area laying down, and she was like, "Oh, you shouldn't be here, or I'm gonna accidentally burn you or something." And the way that Turtle kind of did just brush it off. I mean, he did make a mark about it. I don't remember what it was, but he didn't really try to run away or be scared about it, which goes to show that how Turtle saw through the fact that she was known as this massive monster and then tried to at least see her as she was or how she was trying to change and everything.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, but then these things take time, and when you bring up things that you almost never bring up with other people, then it becomes like quite weird and also very awkward and also quite scary as well. Like, excuse me, murdering other dragons, really?
Yeah, I brought that up.
That's the sort of thing that you don't usually say to others. So yeah, definitely, totally valid point. And yeah, well done for bringing this up, Poem and Oasis. And yeah, and I mean, after that, the thing is, the biggest turning point is, the return of Queen Scarlett, because, it's revealed that she's not dead because she was rescued. Burncow have taken all the blast, and then she got rescued by Pearl. And essentially, she hid away for a long time, and now she came back, throwing her head literally right at them, claiming to be Queen Glory. But again, you can see how calculative it is because she actually put in time mask on the head. It's not even that; it's just a random mudwing. So, that kind of tells you how her tactic. She has been really thinking about her tactics because she actually acts rather than actually acting impulsively. And we don't get to see that until like later down the book when she actually acted more impulsively. But that tells you how she uses these tactics to essentially scare off all the other dragons. That makes everyone panic. And Pearl kind of has been wondering about whether this is actually true. She actually have detected that something is off. That means, like, even though, she has been really completely influenced by Queen Scarlett into thinking on just being a killing machine, she actually has suspicions on her thoughts, and she actually knows her pretty well. That kind of shows you how a distorted relationship can still allow you to actually know somebody because of how egocentric and how much they're revealing about themselves.
Oh, okay, yeah, that part is like where most of us is totally traumatized. That part of the head of glory. No. Yeah. Girl should just be like
absolute gruesome
be over
scene.
with now. Now that part was scary. I thought that was real. I thought that was the end of what part of Wings of Fire, because we can't have it without glory.
And it makes you wonder whether this is actually appropriate for teenagers and children. I don't think it's appropriate. Like, these are not.
Think adult.
Yeah,
I don't think adults really care.
They don't. No, clearly not. But I don't think these are things. I mean, we can slowly get into them, but I mean, this is a lot for somebody that age. I mean, everything returning to normal in the beginning of this arc, and then suddenly a bomb goes off in the middle of a school, and then now you have and then suddenly a head of a character that you actually love being thrown at you, and you actually think, oh shit, they're dead, and like, oh my gosh, what can we do? And I mean, it really disorients you. So I understand how it traumatizes, and I can't believe I just cannot imagine how children can process this information. Really, it's a lot.
Isn't this also when they find out that there's some scroll paper somewhere that preserves magical energy? Because that's how the head get changed?
Yes, essentially that, yeah. And it really does makes you wonder, like, what type of animus out there would be utilizing these powers, because there is another dragon essentially helping her, and during the time of her exile, she's no longer queen at that point because Ruby is, and then she got essentially got Peril exiled from the Sky Kingdom entirely, and then after that, when you have gotten to see Queen Scarlett, like ex-Queen Scarlett coming back with a scarred face and throwing these things and essentially threatening everyone, it does makes you wonder. She's not animus, and like when she actually got other dragons to help her, you do wonder like how influential she actually is.
Oh yeah, she's like, I don't know how to explain it. She's like known for everywhere, if I remember correctly. She's like she's so evil that you could, just by saying her name, will get you shook. Like, even if the cat was a fake glory, it was still a live dragon. A mudwing. A poor mudwing had to be glory. That's its whole purpose. Just unfortunately, just unalived, and now just turned into a head of a piece of animus scroll.
Exactly that.
Something so
I
evil.
still,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
oh, I still think it's crazy. Animus magic has its complications, and its story loopholes. Reading this for the first time, still don't understand what this has to play in the story exactly, other than to, like, I don't know, get Tsunami out of the picture for a little bit. But it just, like, once again, you could literally just write, I want all of my enemies dead, and
then all of them dead. But yeah, you do wonder why she does not do that. That's still, that's kind of a mystery. She wants to play the slow game instead of actually having everyone dead, because in her mind she might actually think all dragons can perhaps have some beneficial uses for her, and she doesn't want all of them dead. Because if she has all of them dead, then nobody will be working for her. So that's the sort of thing. She actually is thinking like way deeper than you think. Like, just giving a plain threat, why not just kill them all? I mean, the probably the purpose is not to kill them. It's probably to actually get them scared, and then essentially when she comes back, then everyone would essentially think, yeah, that's someone that we should not be messing with, and we're at her mercy now. That sort of thoughts.
Yes, I'd like to also note, like when they first saw Glory's head, imagine like the dragonettes, like when they saw like basically Glory, who was like hatched along with them, basically their sister, like right there. Like, you gotta like imagine like their expressions, they like unbelief, like sadness. Like Tuzami was like really angry. She like flew after Scarlett.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and then
that.
yeah, and then like when they find out it's a Mudwing, then like they're kind of like, oh shoot, there's an animus involved with Scarlett.
And then things just become like there's a whole new level of terror now, because there are things that you really cannot see and you really don't know what to expect. So are you going to defend against the animus, or are you going to go ahead and proceed the attack to actually try to end this once and for all, but you don't really know what you're heading into?
Yeah, even as how evil Scarlett is, you can't blame her that she's a good rage baiter. She's a good troller. You saw, like, even in the graphic novel, you see how mad Tsunami is. Like, the Dragonet is all traumatized. But they see that what was really going on. But still, I just find it cool that how like slowly she just tries to torture them like that. There must be a reason why she's still like keeping them alive, like y'all mentioned. But still, she's like a rage baiting evil dragon. It's like, even since she's smart, it's an excuse to call her some sort of like, what do you say it? Like I don't know, what was okay, so yes, that word, yes. But yes, basically, I think it was the other one, psychopath. Yeah. She's basically just a freak dragon. She doesn't deserve to live. No. I don't know why people feel like her, but still, it's still so unexpectedly evil.
I would actually use the word sociopath to describe her, because that's essentially what she is. She's not like totally insane. She's very calculative. She's very smart. She knows what to do, how to frighten people, how to literally mentally torture people, but she's not entirely insane to the point where she just randomly do massacres and stuff just to actually get just to actually sate her emotional insanity. That's not her. She knows how to manipulate people. She knows what to do, even after being away for so long. She knows what to do to slowly gain her throne back. Like, I mean, everything's just falling in her favor at this point. In the current position where we're in the book. And yeah, there's nothing really they can do. I mean, all of the dragons like start flying off and starting to actually notify all of them, saying that, oh my gosh, Queen Glory is dead. And then they found out that, oh, then it's not dead. Then they have to relay messages again, like because they don't have mobile phones or anything like that, so they have to rely on flying over to deliver the messages. And it takes time, so that disorients the entire system of actually planning to hunt her down. And then things just kind of she just kind of what should I say, squeezes her way through, and you really can't catch her. And yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then moving on to that, the Turtle and Peril has then formed a pretty unexpected bond where they actually thought of going behind everyone's back and just decided to go ahead and get rid of the problem by themselves. Like, you wonder why he has the courage to actually do that. And Peril also thought, I can take them down. That's more normal because she's a killing machine, so she would think, yeah, I can go against that. I can just kill one dragon, easy peasy. But you wonder why another dragon like Turtle, a Sea-Wing prince, would be so courageous and said, yeah, I'll follow along, let's do that. I mean, there is something off about him. He's giving some energy that doesn't seem very right, because he seems like kind of like an ordinary dragon, but he's clearly not, because he's not scared of Peril, and then he thinks that he can take down one of the scariest dragons in history. So it makes you wonder, really. And when we keep going down, then they go into like a whole ton of journeys to actually go through different places and actually figuring how the different anatomy and physiology really work, because Turtle is a really good swimmer, proficient at it, but Peril is not, on the other hand, because she is Skywing and Turtle is a Sea-Wing, so one of them is better at swimming, whereas the other one's much better at flying. So there's like the sort of dilemma happening where like both of them are trying to really learn about how different dragons from different tribes really work. And then until the point where they actually start where a second bomb being thrown at them, then that's where even more characters start coming in and joining the scene, where all the Arc 2 characters you get to see. And I honestly gotta say, like, Peril did not have a good time meeting and she ended up once again accidentally killing somebody when she did not intend to, but because she has been conditioned to being a killing machine, everyone just thought, yeah, she's trying to kill me. So it becomes quite a bit of a problem.
Yeah, it's kind of unavoidable when you have scales that are kind of lit on fire 24/7 and their entire life can't really do anything about it. And saying it as accidental, it's pretty hard to believe, unfortunately. That's what I really feel bad about her. Like, even in an accident, dragons nearby won't believe it at all. It's just like, you're just born, like, unable, like, to, like, fix, like, your mistakes or accidents, because it becomes undone. It's like all ashes. Already over. Already GG. All that.
I don't know if I'm jumping ahead when I say this, but when they were in, I think it was Sanctuary at the time, when they were trying to sneak into it or sneak through it.
Oh no, that's Possibility.
That's Possibility. My bad. I forgot the name of it.
You're good.
But thanks for correcting me, Paul. But when they were there, when the cactus bomb was thrown and it touched Peril and it instantly exploded, it kind of went against the whole sneaking part. When everyone knew they were there, especially with that bomb going off in the town.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, yeah. I mean, that bomb again is something else to disorient somebody, because like you think like using one is already a lot, and then you get two essentially being thrown at you, and again disorienting everything, like. But it's very it's like they're very difficult to comprehend all of this, because it's just like one thing after another, and there's like you don't know what's being thrown at you at this point. And I mean, I do totally understand how all dragons are like just really are just really disoriented by all of this. And even Pearl herself, she has never really felt a lot of pain in the past, because she's usually the one that burns everyone to char. But then this time the bomb actually did affect her, and she actually does feel sore from the explosion when she absorbed the impact, even though she did not really sustain any major injuries.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that part, like, she just gained sore, nothing else,
Yeah.
just scratch.
Yeah, but that's the first time she actually felt genuine pain, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, yeah, that part I kind of barely remember, but it was actually pretty fascinating. It was like, like, it's just a little scratch, but still pain, which is, like, really scary, spooky for her,
Yeah,
probably.
and it was the first thing she said was, who could she set on fire to make it stop? That's the first thing you think when you're hurt.
Yeah. Very sounds very disrupted, but yeah, very corrupted kind of mindset. Absolutely.
Before, in like when they were Peril and Turtle were spying on the dragonets and chameleon's like body and stuff, I think like after that, like whenever like, and I think it's like a tribe thing, like and it's mainly mentioned in like the graphic novel. Like the characters, like each time like a character like or tribe like communicates with each other, they kind of like gently tap each other on the wing, or like they wrap their tails together as like a sign of like affection, or like, hey, like we're friends and stuff. And I think like I've noticed like in the graphic novel, like Pearl sees that and she's like jealous of that because she wants to do that with other dragons. And because she doesn't want them to not just see her as a monster, but like maybe as like a friend, or like somebody like that has mutual respect and stuff.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yeah, things essentially she really wants to change things, and and she also wants the spotlight. She wants recognition at this point. You can really see how desperate she is, because she actually wants attention. She's not really a monster. She's been heavily corrupted by a corrupted system, essentially by a malicious queen in the past, and then now she's getting out of it. She actually wants more support, and how you can see how support is very important in facilitating change, because when she doesn't get support, the way that she just felt, essentially she just felt jealous about it, and essentially just thought, oh, I don't have enough support, I don't have enough attention. That really shows how tragic of a character she really is. And at that point there are also a couple things where things just really start revealing themselves slowly. Whereas, for instance, where getting bumped into the new dragonets from Jade Mountain, so the Jade Winklets, Kibble Moon, and then eventually Winter when she accidentally bumped into her, bumped into him. Well, that part, like literally changes the entire scene, because you get charred, like Winter got charred, severely burned, but then it's revealed that Turtle has special healing powers because he is an animus. And you really, I mean, there are hints that foreshadows it in the past, but you really don't know that he actually has the ability, besides a very odd looking rock that he massages with, and now it has a special power of healing burns. Like, that's kind of mind-blowing, but at the same time that kind of shows why he's so confident in actually taking down someone as powerful as Queen Scarlett, right? A dragon as powerful as Queen Scarlett, it's not easy to take down. She has a lot of tactics, but he thinks the healing power can essentially heal him and protect him from all the blasts being thrown at him by Queen Scarlett. And that is a huge reveal, and it actually plays a huge role, especially by the end. But the thing is, because Peril kept injuring different dragons along the way, obviously they won't be happy about it, which is normal. but then again, that's where things kind of tear apart, because she is still being accused as a monster when she's not trying to be, and accidents do happen because of how she's born. So she felt excluded and left the group. But then that's where, she can be easily manipulated, because she never really had her own mindset, and everything's like surrounded by Queen Scarlett before she met Clay, and now everything she wanted to do is to be loyal to Clay, and she wanted to see what she can do to please him, what she can do to actually what she wants to do is to essentially follow Clay's orders, because she's essentially showing affection towards Clay. And during that point, it kind of distorts her. And during that sort of distortion, and when she felt like she's being again treated like a monster when she fly away, that's the point when she's vulnerable. And you would wonder, like, why suddenly a random dragon sword started appearing and saying that, oh, I can help you and I understand it. That's when the emotional vulnerability actually gives her the prime weakness, because she's easily manipulated. And then that's where things really started going in Queen Scarlett's favor. So you really do wonder whether this entire plan is rigged.
Yeah, I'd say like I think he was like whoever it was like that was following, like, because it mentioned like previously in the graphic novels and in the books, like that Turtle noticed that like somebody was following both Peril and him, and Peril kind of just brushed it off. But then like this character didn't approach them until Peril was alone. So I think he or she was basically stalking Peril until Peril was by herself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And then essentially all of that then goes in her favor, because then you get somebody who makes a big reveal saying, oh, I'm your parrot, listen to me, and I'll guide you to exactly what you want to do. It seems suspicious, but because of her insecurities and how everyone has treated her so far, then she would think, yeah, that's my best bet in trying to get her down. I would do whatever, because at this point I got no one to trust or what to lose. So then she follows, and bingo, it really falls into the trap, and then she gets brainwashed, and then she gets what she wanted, to not be a monster anymore, but then at the same time she loses everything that she has built so far by an enchantment by this dragon who is actually called Chameleon, which is a rainwing, with special powers to shapeshift into different things. Shifting dragons, that's like the first time it kind of gets revealed. Technically second time. The first time was Pyrite and in the previous book, actually being a Hellstorm. And then now that's the second time you actually can see dragons voluntarily shifting between different forms. And it is pretty scary, don't you think? Because who knows who you're speaking with is actually a real individual, really.
Well, I was going to go into detail what you brought up from where she was by herself and got led to this random part of the forest, because she wanted to be normal. She didn't want her flame skills anymore, because she's seen how other dragons interact with each other, and how she's basically damaging anyone who she even tries to come into contact with or tries to become friendly with, just because of her fire skills, which then allows her opportunity, or allows Scarlett the opportunity to use that, or whoever to use that to basically bring her back into it and help her get what she wants done, which turned out was get that crown back. So it really left her open to that, and that's what brought up the other part of the next chapter of this book with, and that's about as much as I will say.
Yeah, totally valid points, and I do definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah, before the part when she gets brainwashed, you should like since I can't blame her from like how she grew up, that she's starting like I don't know if the word desperate, but it's like, like for like a normal life, for like a life that, it's something that she can't live with, because there's like dragons like just like accusing her of being a monster even after she didn't mean it, and it's just pretty sad. It's like that's like the part where like I grow on her, like she's so like just trying to redeem herself, even though she is, but it's just how she just grew up with the monster, like Scarlett. But yeah, she's just
Yes,
so
essentially
steady.
that. Desperate is definitely the perfect word to describe this case. She really doesn't have anything to go for, and she really wants to go ahead with the plan.
I mean, the whole game of the book, or like the whole purpose of the book, is to show how this main character can break away from the stereotype, or just knowing that she hasn't realized yet she's made for more than her supposed birthright, being that she was born with too much fire, and she's always told that there's no safe way to use it, or that there is no way to have it without hurting people.
Indeed.
I don't really know how else to put it.
Well, yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. And, the birthright, she's very desperate to try to get away with it. She wants to be normal, actually, from what you can see. Because, it doesn't really take a lot of manipulation until she really caves and actually says, yeah, I want this power gone, and I just want to be ordinary like everyone else, because I don't want to keep hurting innocent people anymore. And, they didn't even have to force her into obliging to this, and then she agreed, and then boom, there she is, the most loyal god they can get at that moment. And then boom, everything just goes according to plan. Even though she does not have like the power she used to, she still holds that intimidating presence. And when she returns with Queen Scarlett and also Chameleon, everyone was scared. And essentially, Ruby was again knocked over from her throne because she have thoughts about her being inferior. So again, once again, Queen Scarlett's back. So her plan seems to have worked out at this stage. So you can really see how well she knows the different dragons. Even though she's very egocentric, she's still somewhat, to a degree, pretty observant. So she knows what to do.
I'd note that as soon as like she put like the necklace on, like the enchanted necklace.
Yes.
She noticed like that like once she could like touch like plants and dragons, that she was like hugging like everything and everyone and touching like the grass and touch grass. But
Oh boy.
Oh man.
yeah, she felt free and all that, and she was happy. And like from the corner, Scarlett's kind of like scowling, like, don't tell anybody this though. Like Scarlett was still trying to like put like a chain on her, like, I'm still in control of you and all that. And Peril's kind of like, why do I have to lie that I have my fire skills? Like, why?
Yeah, just a quick something just to point out. When she wore that necklace, all that character development went down the drain. Kind of down the drain,
Well,
kinda,
that's what you thought.
Kinda. Because he has some memories, like some... Yeah, because some of it, because it just went down. He just like all the way to chapter 1 again. Just meeting all these dragons again. Who's Clay? I don't know.
Except that
It's gone.
she doesn't have that ability anymore. And the thing you can actually see here is, she actually agreed to all of this, and it's also like an escape sort of system she is desperate to get back into, because that's where you can actually see a very good psychological effect called Stockholm syndrome, where essentially you've gotten into a very distorted mindset, you've been in a very distorted circumstance for a very long time, and you actually would rather stay in it because you still manage to find some joy and something you can actually relate to, because that's what you've been doing for so long, and you actually do not want to go out of that comfort zone and actually experience things that are actually better, that are actually normal, because you have the fear of uncertainty. And that's what usually keeps people in a very distorted relationship, no matter whether it's marriages, family matters, etc. In this case, really represents like a family dynamic, where essentially the superior says whatever, and you're desperate to really stabilize yourself, and you go into drastic measures, even if it's essentially illogical, to get back into it. And essentially, this is what happened. And once she put on the necklace, you would think everything goes down the drain. That's essentially how things are going as at this point. But then when you keep going, when you got all the intimidation, which is the next couple of chapters on, Ruby's now once again imprisoned, and Scarlett again begins consolidating the power. And then she put the newly enchanted Peril and Chameleon back as guards, and guarding Cliff as well. And essentially Cliff tries to escape from it, but it just kind of really it doesn't go well actually with Scarlett's control, because there's so much you can really do into scaring somebody before they actually get rebellious, and the way that she wants to actually turn others into weapon actually kind of tells you her obsession into actually gaining power. But she's also ignoring a lot of things, is that other dragons, other beings also have their own minds. It's not just yours. What you want them to do, scaring them, is not just the thing, because they would really try to find ways to actually go against you. There would be different minds, some smart ones that are probably as smart as them, as smart as the villains in general, that would think of ways to get back to them. And you can actually see her influence starting to slip away here.
Yeah, I'd additionally like to note that once she kind of just barged in, was like, I'm queen now, and everybody's like, okay, and they're not complaining, because they know if they complain, she's gonna be like, oh, your head,
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of takes over. They also, it's in the graphic novel, it seemed like they raided the fridge as well, because in the graphic novel, after they invaded, they kind of just sat was it Cliff? I think it's Prince Cliff.
Prince Cliff, that's correct.
Yeah. They sit him in a chair and they're just like, you stay here, we're just basically gonna bribe your mother and to surrender and stuff. They sit him there, and then they just raid the fridge, eat it all, and they leave the poor little Peril on babysitting duty while they have a food coma or something,
Exactly. It's literally rage baiting Ruby at this point. Yeah.
Didn't they when they were storming the council, didn't they go through the children's area first?
Yeah. And that part is good catch. That is essentially where you can see the distortion really is. All the plans, and then barges into the least defensive area. Of course that's gonna happen, right? Of course it's gonna be going into the kids area, because that's the least that's the part where they have the least power against. So of course, there we go, and everything is back to square
one. Hi, kids.
Boom, you're gonna die. Listen to me or you die. That's the kind of thing that's happening. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And
the kids gonna listen.
Indeed. And that is the point when you can actually see Scarlett really wants, a lot of villains really tries to really manipulate kids into doing the dirty work. And when they said that, when she actually says, describing Cliff as her next adorable little weapon, goodness me, my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's so unsettling. It's beyond creepy at this point. And that is the point where actually even enchantments aren't strong enough to hold somebody in, and Peril actually broke through that enchantment and thought, yeah, I'm manipulated here, and then I'm gonna bust through this, and then removes the necklace right at that point, because even enchantments cannot really keep the humane side of you suppressed, whatever influence you have, because if you actually do have a heart, and if actually do have the intention to do well, your spirit will still actually win over whatever influence or whatever forced induced thoughts others have been given to you, even if you're hypnotized. So in that case, that tells you how strong emotional bonding really is, and how justice also always prevails at the end, even though there would be a period of suffering and intimidation from evil. But they never really they never really work. And then eventually all her memory starts flowing back, and that's where things you would see begins to be hopeful. Because I mean, throughout in this middle, in like this act, like things are just really hopeless, don't you think? Things are like going in favor of Queen Scarlett, and things seem to be going in the way that is like really, really bad. But then now you have the sense of hopefulness coming back to you, and that's where essentially Peril starts attacking Scarlett. But again, this is the point where it's very different. Where it's a very different experience. She got stopped because Ruby insists to fight the throne in a proper way, trying to do it the proper way that's actually illegal, rather than actually taking the throne forcibly. And that is where you can actually have things go in, rather a formal challenge or just kill her right away, and they chose the formal way. And this is the first time where Peril is not actually acting as the monster, just killing something by like touching them once, and then they turn into ash, but actually leaving it to the successor, the daughter of Scarlett here, to actually go through the proper way of earning the throne. And she is a spectator now. I mean, I don't know. It really does makes you think. Like you have been on the spot of executing everyone all the time. Now you're the one who's actually watching in the audience panel of someone getting executed. Like, don't you think that would be a brand new experience, right?
The part with the her finding out the necklace was enchanted. She began second guessing herself when people kept talking about this clay person that she didn't really realize who it was. Because some of the dragons she was talking to, who were, I think it was in the throne room, were like, remember Clay wouldn't want this. And she was sitting there like, yeah, she was like, who's Clay? And which made her start second guessing of like, who is this Clay and why is he so important in this situation? And once she found out about the necklace and being enchanted to make her forget about all these things, that also, I guess, started the ball rolling of her finding out that there was also something on Ruby, because she started interrogating her magical father about everything.
Yeah. I kind of forgot which is the part where I think it was Turtle that hit Chameleon. I forgot how to pronounce his name. I forgot what part was that. Was that like between where Peril, like when she started to notice that this necklace is like all brainwash and lies from her own father? I think it's her father. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember, but it's like at that part where she just like Turtle just hit. That's the thing. That's where he gets his like a crooked snout from.
Yeah, and we're jumping ahead a little bit, but that is essentially like, where things are actually heading, and it kind of tells you how like things would really unravel after this point. But then not before like Tui's fashion of pulling plot twists everywhere randomly. Suddenly a plot twist came out of the blue. You originally thought that would be Tourmaline and Ruby as being siblings, but now actually when Ruby's struggling, Peril took off the earring and boom, there's Tourmaline. Actually Tourmaline and Ruby are the same dragon. Who have thought, really? So that's a huge unravel. Yeah, essentially. Oh, they screwed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, wasn't really like getting beaten up like in between, like like Peril was like, hey, look, get that earring off of you, just get that regeneration, all that strength back, glory from Tourmaline.
Yeah, and that is also a very huge suspicion on her side when she actually realized how everything could potentially be animus. Whatever things are given in the sky kingdom, even earring can be something. She wore a necklace and she realized, heck, this is manipulating the S out of me, and now I have to take this off. And now an earring given by a sister that has disappeared mysteriously. No, that's suspicious as heck. So I'm gonna remove that. And boom, there we go. The entire thing is actually fabricated. Like Ruby's again another false construct by this evil Queen Scarlett, or ex-Queen Scarlett almost. And that is when she's really screwed, and she's gone. Her reign is over. And with her essentially killed on spot, unalived on spot, then that's really it. And things seems to be going happily ever after. But wait, there's something that's actually got slipped away. Chameleon, actually, while they focus on a battle of Queen Scarlett, he slipped away and he tries to actually uses his shape-shifting magic again to actually get away with from everything. And guess what? The dragonets are not that dumb. With combined forces with everyone that's been introduced in this book, then they essentially goes after them.
I think that's the part where he gets hit in the snap. That funny part. It's pretty hard to remember the order, but that's the funny part where Brogus just gets mad. Just, yeah, give me back my scroll. That is mine and nothing else. No one else.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then join forces. Everyone's like, yeah, you're screwed now. You're absolutely screwed. There are essentially a couple of things is that, when you're focused on deeply focused on getting the culprit of the entire orchestrated ordeal, then you actually forgot about the other supporting dangers behind that can just slip away, and you have to deal with them later and becomes a threat afterwards. So I do wonder, what do you think about that?
Ooh.
Yeah, this is the point where all these sort of manipulation tactics really stop working, because all the protagonists have really seen through all of this, and they essentially were just saying, nope, we are now ready of whatever tactics you're going to be throwing at us, even if they're unexpected, we've adapted, and now we actually know how to improvise right on the spot. So they did, and Turtle, Peril, Moon, Kibli, Winter, they all track Chameleon down, who's disguised as a Nightwing now, called Shapeshifter. Ironic name, right? And protected by enchanted armor. Well, he has actually caused a lot of issue and has actually troubled a lot of people. So Winter really wants to revenge for King Gennadii. And then the confrontation really shows how dangerous animus magic can be. And essentially, Chameleon he's not really brave or noble, but with the Scarlet enchantment, he is a huge threat still. With whatever he can do. But, Turtle is also an animus, so that comes in handy. So making Chameleon's armor attack against himself and forcing the scroll loose, then Turtle successfully grab it. And with an animus, then he really shows how useful he can be, because he has understanding of how these sort of magical things can actually work out. So that's how that, and then the kind of power kind of ceased there. And the night the group kind of debates what to do with the scroll, and that is where Moon kind of reveals that it belongs to an animus trapped beneath the Jade Mountain Darkstalker. Rings any bells? That seems to be calling back to book 6, everyone. And yeah, everyone is like kind of thinking, wait, we have something that's a much bigger problem than we thought. Like now that Chameleon's kind of dealt with, we got a dragon that's currently sleeping beneath a skull that has even greater power and greater understanding of animus that nobody has ever grasped before. And it just makes you wonder, like, what you can do.
Oh yeah, that part was kind of stressful. It was like, even for us, it was like you don't know what they're gonna decide. You see Peril just like kind of just seeing everyone just starting to end up just kind of fighting, like to say, like, hey, let's use this scroll for this, or let's just destroy this scroll, or what are you gonna do with the scroll? You're like, all that. Yeah, that was like pretty really kind of tense. So it's been a while since I read it through, but I was reading more of the graphic novel. It was kind of like just a little stressful, as it seems. But yeah, not gonna spoil yet on what's gonna happen after that. But we all know. But you know what happened after that. Pearl thinks that all problem solved, and yeah,
Yeah, it kind of backfired because they want to actually just get rid of all these dangerous things. But essentially burning that scroll off essentially wakes the the master of animus magic up, and then things have gotten a whole lot more difficult to deal with now, and it really makes you wonder what's going to happen next, because now this huge dragon, this huge Nightwing, Icewing hybrid technically, but looks mostly Nightwing, rises from beneath of Jade Mountain, and thanks of Peril for essentially supporting and freeing him, and essentially this is a huge cliffhanger. What's going to happen? Is this dragon even good or bad? I mean, you probably guys know the answer, but that's where things kind of leaves off for everyone. And do you think things will be catastrophically messy, or do you think things would actually resolve in the future? That is essentially where it really disorients you. After reading this book, really, it leaves your heart pounding, and it really takes you a while to actually settle down. It's a lot to take in, but I really overall think like there's a lot of character development in Peril, because from being considered a monster to actually being all disoriented, being very desperate to gain acceptance, to eventually actually getting that. She redeemed herself and actually is supported in defeating evil once and for all. But then there will always be something more than that coming. And that's essentially just the moral of the story. And yes.
I think like I feel bad for like Peril, because she was just like they were the Jade Winglets were basically arguing and bickering over the scroll, because like they were kind of like they're like, no, we should use it for this and that and this and that, and Beryl's kind of like, okay, well, we're just going through the same story of how I dealt things. So she kind of just was like, yoink, and then arson, boom, there goes a scroll, poof.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like the world is like shaking. Like imagine like the Jade Winglets, like they're like, oh, the scroll's gone, and then they're like, wait, why is the ground shaking?
Indeed.
Prophesize, they're gonna fall.
The sky is falling.
Yeah, essentially, because you will not know that burning that would probably have some chemistry. You don't even know what's behind the whole animus thing. It's like a whole different science degree you need until you actually know what's going on with these sort of animus magic stuff. That burning it frees things instead of eliminating it. Oh, that's another twist for you to deal with. And yeah, essentially leaves you wondering what's going to happen in the next book. And that's where things actually start picking up speed. But okay, let's talk about the epilogue here. That's where things really kind of wraps up. So essentially the epilogue kind of shifts into a different perspective, focuses at night in the library where Starflight is visited by an enemy who said she had a nightmare about the earth shaking beneath her feet. She kind of describes this feeling like something was slithering over her grave, and it really does just tell you like things are going to be even more complicated than they seem. Just freeing this dragon probably will have a very detrimental effect in the entire continent itself, because this dragon, as how it's introduced, doesn't seem to be a very friendly being, and he seems to be rather sinister and actually has some really odd plans. Because think about how all these scrolls are made, how these enchantments are made. They're not really made for good intentions. You don't really think they're made for good intentions, but instead they're actually made to manipulate people and things. So that makes you think like maybe this Darkstalker that's introduced now is probably going to be even worse than the villains that we've seen before, something that we've never seen. And
I almost wonder like where the epilogue mentions like Starflight and Anemone, or I think that's how you say her name.
Yeah, an enemy. Yeah,
Kinda
an
hard.
enemy. Yeah,
Anemone. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like she like Starflight's kind of like you know how late it is, and like Anemone's kind of like, I don't know, I just couldn't sleep. Like it got this like shiver. Like I almost wonder if it's like a foreshadowing for like upcoming like things that are gonna happen to her, and then maybe some other characters or the plot.
Yeah, honestly, you can really tell that the writer's trying to give you some information on what to look forward to.
Yeah.
And yeah, Tuichi Sutherland has done a really good job, exceptional job in actually doing that, actually letting you see that actually, yeah, things are gonna get even crazier up to this point. If this book hasn't blown you away, the next one will probably blow you away absolutely. And there are tons of story to actually happen, because you would think now the big threat is gone, everything will go back to normal, but then suddenly an even bigger one arises. And I don't know, I kind of feel bad for the protagonists here, because all the protagonists really needs a break. They don't get one. Instead, they get something even bigger. So...
Womp womp. Yeah, that part made me feel bad. Peril was like, "Oh, I saved the day. I did it. And there's the one chance I can make things right." Oh, wait, why is the ground
Yeah.
shaking?
Nope.
Nah.
Yeah, and it does makes you... Yeah, it
Yeah,
does absolutely makes you wonder, like, what Pearl thinks again. Would she maybe think of herself as a troublemaker again? But I mean, she wouldn't have known. So it, yeah, it really makes you think, like, she shouldn't doubt herself in this part, because she actually, there were a lot of accidents, and she really did not meant any of them. And this one, none of them would release such a huge threat. So if anyone blames her, I don't think that's really justifiable. So yeah, in that case, she just have to stick together and really see what to figure out. And that would be essentially where this book ends. And essentially where the next book will lead us to, which we'll be talking in the next episode. But yes.
Oh yes. So okay, this is a bit like more out for the community. So it's like it's someone that likes Pearl but likes Darkstalker. I mean, Pearl's the one that released Darkstalker, and you can't really hate her for that if you really like Darkstalker with the last screen time. But yeah, although that, yeah, I really felt bad how Pearl, like, her mindset must be so, like, her mental health, is all messed up and all that. Especially, like, releasing this ginormous, ancient, like, skinny, big night ace wing. Still, very, very spooky. Can't imagine you trying to make things right, then all of a sudden everything crumbles to the ground.
Gets worse.
Literally crumbles, and now it's all it gets all worse.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's like a tragic character. Such a tragic.
That is a very tragic part indeed. And yeah, that's something that really gets to see how, you know, even the most tragic characters can really make a huge comeback. So really, that's a lifelong lesson that we can learn. Everyone can change. And that's why I really, really like this book. This book is honestly one of the books that really captivates me, because of how things are really picking up speed, and how, you know, a lot of plot twists really does blow your mind. Especially if you haven't read the other books before, or if you haven't read them for a while, this is still mind-blowing. So yeah, I do wonder, because we've came to the end of this book, yay. I wonder what you guys think about it. Perspectives changes?
Very cool. Very cool. Actually, it's one of my favorite books, actually, because you get to see Scarlett and the last time of Scarlett, but sometimes a bit of flashbacks later on in the books, but still. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, for me, I'm very biased to Scarlett, but she's still such an evil dragon, but at least we get a lot more screen time until that happens. You know, the inevitable after her own daughter, which she kind of kept her away mysteriously, and just snapping something very crunchy, and it's all over with. But still, it's very very, very, very good book indeed. A lot of good character development, at my opinion. This is the book that makes you hate. No hate for Pearl. Just like less hate, even if you hate a lot. But how can you even hate her if she can't know her own destiny or control it? It's all Scarlett, and all her father too. Oh,
yeah.
Evil.
And that really tells you, like, there are so many people who pretend to be good people, but you can't really trust them. But it makes you wonder what you can actually trust is the process of the people who are actually stuck by you, the people who've actually been giving you different guidance and support throughout an unexpected journey. These are the people that you can probably trust. It's more about actions rather than what they say, because they can make up whatever stories they can make up. But their actions is very difficult, especially if they actually have performed their actions to actually prove to you that yes, they're on your side. You can absolutely trust them. They definitely have the same mindset as you. Then essentially you're really good to go. And these are the people that you can really open to. So always really cherish the ones that loves you and the ones that you love most as well. So that's I think the moral of the story, really. Do you guys have anything else that you want to add?
Speaking of on the book about how it is and how I feel about it, I mean, I really liked the book, how it went along and showed character development, I'm just say Prov, sorry.
Province.
Was talking about down there. Province, that's better. Sorry. But how Province was saying how the character development went through. But in all honesty, though, I really like the next book in the series more, because more bias, because Turtle is my favorite character. But
He's a chill dude.
Oh yeah, he's definitely charm one.
Chill.
Yeah.
Nonchalant.
Nonchalant character. Absolutely that. Yeah. You got indeed. Okay, so you got
I was gonna say, I think it's a good, cliffhanger, and, I personally liked it because, Darkstalker is my favorite villain, so it kind of, introduced, Darkstalker, the introduction to him, the beginning of the end for that book. But it's overall really good. I like how they, for the graphic novel, how they, drew him in the last panel. It was really good.
indeed. And the thing is, it's actually, despite the art style, that it's probably not everyone's cup of tea. I think it could be better, but the way that they translate it in sort of in an emotional perspective wise, absolutely, and scenes absolutely translated brilliantly, and you can absolutely see how things become a visual cue for you rather than just being text that you have to imagine. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I got no objections at all. Yeah, nice point. Really well point up. So, anything else?
Yes, this is one of the most cliffhanging things I've ever seen in a cliffhanger. Especially seeing that ancient animus. Don't know how to pronounce the name well, but
Ancient.
yes, it was so really, really good. Yes, I think this is before I read the Legends book of Darkstalker. It was kind of hard to remember, but yeah, that book is awesome too. I love all of it. It's such a good, okay, but yeah, it's not kind of topic, but yeah, the book, yeah, it's really awesome. I like it. And I still with the community, I still don't understand how people don't like Pear, but I understand because, she did some things that, to be fair, she can't control it. So you can't really blame her for it. But yeah, this book is just awesome. I know some are it's always kind of a bit out of the blue, kind of a bit off track with normal arcs, like Arc 1 or Arc 2 is kind of the same, but a bit more off, a little out of focus out of the Dragonets of Destiny, but at least we get to know some more Dragonets, some really cool, but yeah, it's so awesome. It's all my thoughts too. It's really nice. I really like the book. One of my favorites. Really awesome.
Indeed. And yes, definitely one of the books that are that is really content rich and also really has a lot of morality to it. And really, I love how monster becomes something that is especially thoughtful and tame. That's something you don't really get to see every day. So yeah, redemptions are absolutely great things to explore in. So yeah, in that case, I think we should really now leave it to the audience. I really wonder, because I've been looking into their conversations behind the scenes. You guys have been doing a fantastic job. I love how you talked about how V6 does another Book 8 epilogue differently. I thought that is pretty interesting. Introducing Vulture instead of the Starfleet and enemy. Yeah, that could be an alternative perspective. I do wonder, fellow guests, what do you think about that? Nothing?
What's this question?
Hello?
Question?
No. There's an alternative ending that somebody has actually written. The epilogue is different. So, introducing Vulture rather than Starfleet and enemy.
Oh,
Yeah. I do wonder what you guys think about that.
Interesting. I mean, it's kind of hard to remember correctly since the last time I read it by the book is like a while ago. I'm trying to
I
remember.
haven't really read that part. I actually didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, same.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And,
GG. I mean, if you do, just
and I do also wonder, like, for the audience, this is the time where we're doing Q&As now. So, would you guys want to ask us some questions? Feel free to do so in the live chat. So, if you guys know where it is, I mean, you guys are using stage channel. Feel free to do that in stage channel as well. I don't mind. Do it in stage channel. Because
yeah, yeah. Right now,
I'm
just
very
looking at
curious
the
to
page.
what the audience are thinking of. So, do you think Scarlett should have gone out better? Well, I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? Because I thought like how Scarlett totally got what they deserved. Totally got what she deserved.
I believe Scarlett got what she deserved. Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
Oh, good. Go ahead.
But yeah, he definitely did.
Yeah. And Poem, what do you think about this? I'm very curious to hear your thoughts
Oh,
on essentially how Scarlett really have been killed off. What do you think? Do you think it could have been done differently, or do you think it could be this is
Well, first, someone's gonna have to remind me how it happened, because that's how my brain works. I literally read the first half of the book this morning.
it's okay.
her
Yeah.
neck,
Her neck.
her neck.
Yeah.
No, I read the whole series.
Yeah, her neck essentially got kind of crackled, and then by tourmaline, and that's it really. That's how she's got out. I'm very
No. We should have had the Peril kills Scarlet ending. We should have had it.
potential.
I mean, to be fair, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you.
I'm sorry, but being destroyed by your own creation is very
That
poetic.
is true, yeah. It's just that, like, that way, it kind of reminds me, like, just killing her off that easily. Like, some dragons may think differently. Like, if Ruby, like, takes over, thinking that Pearl is being used as a weapon again, and Ruby's like, you know how it goes. It kind of reminds me of Avatar, you know that? Like, the Fire Lord, you know, for example. It's like, it just kind of reminds me of that. If it goes to that direction. But yeah, I get what you mean. Scarlett does deserve to, you know, to get a fateful fate. But I mean, at least a neck snapped to 90 degrees is something that's kind of, it's okay. A good exiting for her. A good goodbye party without any party with Scarlett.
Indeed. I actually do have a thought. I think that would probably make a very interesting turn of events. And it seems very poetic indeed. But at the same time, you know, Tourmaline is also a creation of Queen Scarlett. The thing that I'm thinking, I might be very malicious at this point. I thought the death is quite abrupt, and I thought she probably should have been incapacitated before going through the procedure of getting knocked out. But again, this is a tournament that we talk about, fighting for the throne. So it seems just very natural of how things actually just went on. And I just thought, yeah, the ending is perfectly fine, but alternative endings would be pretty cool as well. And yes, there are also a couple of things raised by Autumn. Is Ruby a good queen? In our opinion, and what about the Hiveling Kingdom? What do you guys think?
First part, no, she's not. Ruby or Scarlett? Sorry,
Ruby.
Ruby is a great one. I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about Scarlett. Yeah, she's an amazing queen. She was trying to bring the Sorry, my brain is not really working right now. She was trying to bring the Skywing Kingdom back to a really good standing, back from how Scarlett had it. Like, she had a hospital set up and everything else, and instead of, like, having it still as the warrior section where, you have a bunch of prisoners being killed over and over again. And about the Hivewing part, well, I really haven't really looked into that much, so I don't really have much of an opinion on that.
And it's okay. Don't worry about it, because, like we said, we're actually going to we're essentially just going to talk about things up to this point, containing spoilers essentially from books 1 to 8. But we're not going beyond that. But indeed, there would be some interesting aspects about the kingdom moving forward that we'll be discussing about in the future when we get to it. And indeed, there are lots of again, that's another one that's very interesting, where again, power dynamic this time is treated rather passively, and things are still pretty messed up. There are troubles in every tribe, and you can definitely see it here. And the first time that we actually get to see directly how troubled the Skywing Kingdom is, and then eventually having a solid queen who actually restores everything upon restoration, is a very poetic ending, because initially started off as a totalitarian place, has been liberated into somewhere more democratic and much more peaceful. That's a really good ending in my opinion. So yeah, I would think Ruby is a good queen. Even though she acted kind of impulsively initially, which is totally justifiable really, because like the cat monster, it's hard to understand she's actually trying to make a change when she's caused so much pain and so much deaths. Like, you won't just expect to forgive her one day, but she did eventually forgive her upon understanding where she came from and what she's doing. So, and she has a deep remorse for that, because she's not going to be a killing machine anymore, and she lifted all the punishments, exiles for her. So I think she's a good queen. She's done well. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Are there any more questions? Oh yes. Do you think the relationship between Clay and Peril is a healthy one? I honestly think yeah, go ahead, guys, please.
Yeah, before Afosiosi, sorry if I can't pronounce your name right. He's in the yeah. But what we came up with a question about Ruby.
No. Now we're going to like Peril and Clay. Is that a healthy relationship, do you reckon?
They're so cute.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, essentially yes, I think it's a much healthier relationship, and Clay is being a decent companion to, or at least a very decent close friend to Peril, because he's the one who actually sparked her to actually initiate the change, and the effects you can definitely see it essentially amplifying as time goes on from book 1 to book 8. Essentially, I kept calling it episode for some reason, but yeah, from book 1 to book 8, you absolutely see how there's an influence on that, and the dynamic between them both it's not an unhealthy one, because like Clay is trying to get her to really discover herself, get Pearl to discover herself, and to actually make her own judgments, rather than actually being easily influenced and being controlled by everyone else. So he is essentially liberating her mind for her, without actually really interfering the process, because if he spoons feeds her the methods of actually liberating her mind, then it's not really her that's doing that's really thinking, it's him doing the thinking for her. So essentially I think it is great, and he is being encouraging, but there are so much that you can really do when essentially you're in such a situation where you're dealing with a chaotic battle where there is essentially an escaped criminal coming back to regain the throne. So I think the relationship has a lot of potential. That's what I think.
Yeah, so cute.
Right. So, yeah, and great question, by the way, Sivas. That was really nice. So, I really appreciate appreciated all the questions asked from the audience panel. Do you have any more? We can probably take a couple more before we leave. And fellow guests, do you have any other things that you want to say?
Really, really good book. Cute couple, very cute. Evil queen, Goner. Yes, you're all good. All good, everything going to plan.
Is it though? Because then you got something that is entirely new.
We ignore that. Yeah, we ignored the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
Well, no, that totally did not happen. Yeah, everything went out, blah, 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 happy ever after. The arc 2 is the last arc 2,
Right.
nothing else. No, nothing. Like, imagine if Peril didn't burn the scroll. It's would probably be what End of Wings of Fire or something. I don't know, maybe something different.
we never know. Even if you don't burn it,
there-
maybe in the future, you never know. Accidents happen, and if the scroll gets tampered with, things can still go wrong, and it might be even more detrimental in the future. You never know. But at this point,
Yeah.
there is
That
one last
is-
question that's that we will take from King for Alligator. Do you think Peril should have killed Scarlett instead of Ruby or Tourmaline? So yeah, that would be
Yeah,
that's essentially what Poem has raised. He thinks it's more poetic that way because it's their own monstrous creation killing them. But again, this I honestly would think on the contrary, actually shows that Peril is no longer the monster. And she's not
To
the
be
one who will
fair-
kill.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To be fair, technically, Ruby / Tourmaline is her own invention as well, because she had Chameleon enchant the earring. So technically, Ruby's kind of like her creation as well.
Indeed, yeah, and I mean, it's directly a creation because that's her daughter, right? Her daughter. So definitely her creation, but just but just not in a weaponizing way.
Yeah.
But again,
Yep.
it's still like it's like totally shameful, isn't it? To think about because your own daughter unaliving you because of all the bad deeds you've done. That's just embarrassing, really, right? Because you're overpowered by your next generation, and you really couldn't even get the final say of saying, no, I want to plead for my life. No, you're gone, or you're cooked. So
She got oofed.
yeah, she got oofed.
She got oofed.
I mean, to be I like how they just, in the graphic novel they do cut off the part where they do the when Ruby and Tourmaline snap her neck. I mean, to be fair, it is very graphic. However, it is pretty bad death. Well, kinda. I can't imagine how that goes. I mean, it's still kinda. I mean, she did deserve it, but yeah, like I said, earlier. Pearl, she's not a weapon, she's like I said, if she kills off Scarlett, it is kind of like more a cool way, but it kind of feels different. Maybe other Skywings might feel different if it went that way,
Yeah,
but
I
who
mean,
really knows?
That's also a point where it's liberating for Peril as well, because if she actually did unalive Scarlett in this case, people would still think she's absolutely intimidating because she still has power, even though she's using it for good this time and actually eliminating a huge threat. But again, that still shows she has the sort of what should I say, the sort of ruthless nature of actually being a war machine. But in this case, she actually held back and let nature do its honor. So I still think in some way this is still a very wholesome ending, and she totally deserved it. But yeah, as for how it ends, there are so many ways that they could have ended, and they're all equally as good. So that's what I think. Yeah. Anyways, I think we have actually came to the end of this book. And in fact, fun fact, this is the longest podcast conversation we've ever had. You all are
Oh
amazing.
my.
Yeah, you've given...
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of noticed.
we've gone on for 2 hours. 2 hours is
We certified chatties.
Yeah, that is
We
that
chatty
is insane.
Cathy's.
But yeah, you guys did very well. Thank you, every one of you, all guests here for joining us. Thank you, Afosiosi. Thank you, Oasis. thank you, Poem, and thank you, Provincial, for being here
All
today.
right.
Yeah, because this
Of
has been a
course.
blast. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode as well. This discussion.
Indeed.
It was pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, this
It was
was
pretty
really
good.
fun.
Good to
Yeah.
know.
It was
And
so
and-
quiet though. I feel
Ye-
so bad.
no, it's all good, Poem. It's your 1st
You're
time, and you'll
okay.
get more time. Yeah, get more
No
opportunities in the
worries.
future. You still shared a couple really
Yeah.
good points, so that's all
No
good.
worries.
And
All
again,
right,
I
all
also
right.
would like.
Why
to...
am I getting cooked in the chat?
It happens. It happens. They are very enthusiastic, and I would love to thank everyone who's currently listening to this podcast, no matter whether it's on YouTube, on Spotify, or any other platform, and especially the live audiences. Thank you very much for being here today. The audience panel, I cannot thank you more, because you guys have really sparked even more ideas for us to continue going into our conversations, and you give us the motivation to keep going. So I really appreciate everyone's attendance today. Everyone has done absolutely amazing. So participation is always key. And yeah, I think yes. And yeah, thank you very much everyone for once again being involved in the Outclaws podcast and participating. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next episode. And just before we leave, feel free to spread the word of this episode to your communities as well.
Yes.
Oh, don't worry, I'll spread it to my Insta, DA, whatever other. Yeah.
Hmm.
I shall be in the walls of this project.
Of course, yeah. And in that case, thank you very much, everyone, and have a good one.
Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah. And
Bye-bye.
night, yeah. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye bye.
This is the end of Season 2, Episode 3 of the Outclaws Podcast. And what a powerful cliffhanger to conclude the story. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to check out our social media profiles. After all, the best way to help us is to share, leave a review, or post your favorite takeaway in the community. Thank you so much for listening, everybody, and we will see you again next time.